Hello, everyone. Today I have a question about absorption and sleep. So one of you asked, what are the key differences between sleep and absorption? Do they have similarities, or how are they related? So a lot of people nowadays have different theories about spiritual journey. You know, some people are versed in Sanskrit, some people are versed in Arabic, some people are versed in Urdu and Tamil language. Some people have access to old books in Latin and Greek. And so because of these language differences, or language barriers, better said, because of different religious backgrounds, spiritual preferences, or whatever we come across during our journey, during our lifetime, we cannot take these limited ideas and concepts on spirituality, we mix them together, and we somehow assume that all of them are different. For example, people speak about different states of consciousness. Our science talk about different brain waves, alpha, beta, theta, so gamma. In yoga, we know that there are several states: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Paravastha, or what is it? The other state, Turia. In other languages, let's say if you're a Sufi or some sort of spiritual adept in whichever tradition, you might know these things differently. You might speak about shunya or stillness or equanimity. You might practice one and the same thing under different names. So today in this video, I would like to bridge the gap between all of these and to kind of bring everyone into one understanding, alignment. It's a humble sort of effort. I hope I manage. Now, it is true that the whole point of spiritual evolution is to understand the multidimensionality of conscious existence. So it means that when we speak in terms of awakening, what are we awakening to? We know that there is a wakeful state, but is it really an awakened state? Why wouldn't this be a dream? A lot of beings who have evolved prior to us spoke about life being a dream. They have awakened to this perception to recognize that this current life is a dream. And then there are other realities, or let's say dimensions or subtleties of conscious existence, where you, or of which you're not aware at this point, but as you evolve on your path, on your spiritual path of evolution, you become aware of. So in simple language, the scope of your awareness expands or deepens. You penetrate levels of conscious existence, of creation, deeper and deeper. You go subtler and subtler. You become awake in a dream. You become awake through the level of deep sleep. Awake meaning you are conscious, aware, even when there is an experience of deep sleep. That's why yogis speak about Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra, the word yoga means you achieved mastery. So when someone says they're a master of this or that, they're the master of this yoga or that yoga, it means they achieved mastery over a specific spiritual subject, or they mastered a certain level of creation, or they've penetrated a certain depth in creation, whichever way you choose to look at it. Say, Kundalini Yoga master means a master of the creative conscious power within them, a master of their body. Tantra master, a master of creation. These masters are very few, and most of them are not known. The true masters, the masters who are in alignment in yoga, who are the vessels of yoga. When we speak about different levels of awareness, when our consciousness awakens to the multidimensionality of creation, of conscious being, in other words, it penetrates with its awareness these levels. So certain beings penetrate dream. They can travel with their consciousness. You know, astral travel, or travel through different subtle dimensions. These dimensions of a certain frequency. Again, we can't access any frequency unless that frequency is us. So it's not just about developing a certain ability to peep into a certain level, because people overstimulate their nervous system, they overstimulate their upper glands through certain forbidden substances, because these forbidden, because they are the substances that do not lead to the spiritual evolution. Because by having experienced something or peeped into a certain dimension or reality, you haven't evolved. That's why there's a difference between just knowing or being able to have an experience and actually being in alignment, being a master of a certain art. And to be a master means to carry, to represent that frequency as a presence. Very few beings on this planet are capable of that, because only those beings who are capable means have refined. They have let go of certain corruption. That's why they became masters, not because they have experiences. And this is a very, very important point, because a lot of people can peep into different dimensions, can have certain incoherent experiences, but they're not masters. Because mastery means a certain level of humility and depth, meaning thoughtlessness, emotionless, deep refinement of one's own space of consciousness, a spiritual growth on an energetic level, breaching of timelines, not stealing energy from others like black magicians do, or false tantra masters, or wannabes, or whoever proclaims themselves as a guru. They're not gurus, because a true master doesn't speculate. Their awareness is as sharp as a laser. And they have breached limited timelines and dimensions, and they establish themselves. They emanate purity, the frequency of purity. That's why their experiences do not pose danger to them. People who peep prematurely or tries to, insinuate, create artificially through stimulants or some kind of other rituals, these sort of experiences are not refined beings, usually, because they haven't mastered the space of consciousness. That's why, by default, by their frequency, usually they become the victims of these premature spiritual experiences, or forced, you may say, spiritual experiences. To be a master of meditation means to be meditation. Wherever you go, you carry that presence and frequency. Anyone around you, anyone observing you, watching you speak, watching you in silence, not even watching you, just being next to you, in your proximity, falls into that state of absorption. Whatever you write, whatever you say, carries that seed. That's why true scriptures are the scriptures that carry spiritual transmission. Means what? They are the vessels of the crystallized consciousness of the higher beings, Siddha Master, Siddha Masters. Who are Siddha Masters? Means perfect masters. They master, they refine the space of consciousness. Their abilities, supernatural abilities, meant nothing. Their spiritual status was not defined by their spiritual experiences. It was defined by their frequency. Their level of intelligence was defined by the level of their humility. And only that defines our spiritual level of evolution, our spiritual rank. Not whether we can fly around in an astral body or whether we can be experiencing blissful absorption with awareness for a while before we actually plunge into a deep unconscious sleep. So most of the yogis experience yogini. So they do. They master themselves to the point that they stay in alignment where they can speak, they can do, but actually, look, they are absorbed. They're masters of yoga. Means they are absorbed. They are aware through all these states. That's why they are known as masters of Turia. Because even though they manage to, it's not just a one-time or two-time experience or experience and glimpses. They are Turia. They are yoga. They are absorption. They are meditation. Because there's nothing in this space of consciousness. No thoughts, no emotions, no attachments, no connections. Purity. That means Siddha consciousness. Now, that is absorption. Absorption means you aligned your awareness with whichever state you're capable of. When you read a book of a Siddha master or some powerful transmissions of spiritual beings, yogis, who really are living transmissions, living knowledge, you will start plunging into that frequency. But the majority of people fall asleep. A lot of people, it's all described in Siddha Tantra. When people read Siddha Tantra, even in my case, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, commentary made by me, they say they cannot read more than a paragraph or a page. Why? Because this is not yet their frequency. They'll fall asleep, deep sleep. But when we go through these stages, so absorption is the same as yoga, amanaska yoga, samadhi, samana, susamana, the sushumna equanimity. It's not something there. Yes, it triggers the cerebral fluid, but it's not the point. Here, absorption, balance, emanation, higher spiritual radiation, that's what it is, yoga. But it doesn't mean anything. Samadhi, absorption, is the tool of refinement. It means you are seeing the corruption if it's still there, because sooner or later, the seed of that corruption as a wave will come into your mind and will disturb the absorption. So what is the difference between the absorption and sleep? A big difference. A sleep is a process of falling or going through different brain waves, brain activity changes, right? It's a falling into a dream state where your mind produces pictures. It's an emotional residue, thoughts. Then it goes into a deep sleep, thoughtless state, but it doesn't have awareness, neither in the dream nor in the deep sleep. It means it's an ignorant mind. The awakened mind can stay awake through these states and beyond. There are other states, paramparas, you know. So, param means supreme, other supreme states. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra's commentary, which is unique in this world transmission, I've clearly described in Vibhuti Pada. Vibhuti doesn't mean ash. Yeah, it also means ash for the ignorant one who turn into ash. Vibhuti means a supreme being. That's what Patanjali tried to convey. That's what Siddhas tried to convey. But when there are no living vessels of yoga, samadhi, transformation, tantra, and alchemy, that knowledge becomes like dust under the feet of the ignorant ones. So, absorption is our natural being, but because we live for most in the projected mode, we experience it only in glimpses. When we come out of our deep sleep or dream, we can have this moment of tranquility. Our absorption doesn't deepen much because our awareness is shallow. It's mostly in the projected world. It's scattered and it loses its potency. The more you cultivate absorption, the deeper your awareness penetrates and the more potent you become energetically as a being. This way you cultivate your light essence or your light body, the spiritual being. And this way you evolve, not otherwise. Only through absorption you evolve, because the deeper you absorb, the shorter your breath becomes. Your breath, it's all written in Siddha Tantra that I've written and explained. And it's also said, transmitted, and written by all the beings who have gone through this process of self-awakening and transformation. The breath, instead of being external, becomes internal and vertical. It becomes subtle then and non-existent, depending on the level of awareness. That's why through absorption, you cultivate yourself because you're not losing vital energy to the projected reality. The more you're scattered in the projected reality, the longer your breath becomes, or the more arrhythmical it becomes. Sometimes it's a shallow breath, but it's arrhythmic. So it means it causes, it reflects the disease of the consciousness, which will eventually be the disease of the body. Absorption heals everything, aligns everything, refines everything. If we know the way, if we know how to dissolve and let go all the corrupt patterns that hold that consciousness in captivity, that limit this consciousness, that bring it out into the projected mode. Masters say that they don't sleep is because they are constantly aware, whether through dream, whether through deep sleep, they are continuously in a deep sleep. That's why they say that they are blissful. They are still, their stillness. And there are different stages of absorption, or not stages, but the depth of absorption. At first, you just become peaceful. Then you become equanimous and content. Then you become blissful and still for long. Then you start transmuting corrupt patterns, revealing them and transmuting, revealing them and transmuting, until you transmute, and that light that is now liberated starts transmuting your cells, your genes, rebuilding you from within, rejuvenating you, impregnating you with the light essence, resulting in longevity, in spiritual potency, and further evolution. Deeper awareness means instant knowledge. access to the higher frequencies of knowledge. If you just have a little experience, you don't have access to actual knowledge. Because in order to have that access, you have to master to a degree, to whichever degree you can. Then that degree of mastery, which means humility and level of refinement, will instantly give you the access to that particular level of knowledge, because you've become that frequency. You yourself are the key. The more you're absorbed, the more you kind of like, you are aligned with that which is called life and creation. That's the force. And then there's no difference between all these states. It's all just one life as one being in whichever state you want, wish, or might be. Masters have a body. They live like that. They carry a body. They have it. But they are very well aware of who they are. And that's awareness they reach through absorption. The more you let go, the more you untie, the more you liberate yourself, the more you dwell in a natural absorption, which is the foundation for further evolution, for spiritual mastery, for different other spiritual pieces of knowledge or arts. But these are not to be learned by force. You are to become the vessel which emanates that frequency that is safe, which is true, which is authentic, which will not take advantage of that knowledge, which will not harm creation through that knowledge. That's why true higher knowledge is self-protected. That frequency might be theoretically known to people, but not accessed practically, because you are to be that frequency. You are to become that frequency through the process of self-refinement, through absorption. No other method is effective for spiritual evolution but the refinement through absorption. That's a proved fact. You may twist your body, you may exercise, you may sit with your eyes closed. But true meditation is a being. If you're not that, so your practice, well, it may delude you that you're something, you achieved something. You can even teach thousands of people, gather stadiums and teach them to close their eyes, sit with their crossed legs, and think foolishly that they're going somewhere. Until we turn within and restore the natural being, experience that yoga, that absorption, for the first time, acknowledge it, recognize it with our consciousness, so it crystallizes and we can return to it, we cannot start the journey, because that's the first step. And then by having awakened to that, now we are to cultivate it so that we can refine. We go back, we start turning more and more within so that we can refine and let go of all that which keeps us prisoners to this body, to this planet, to this cycle. And if we choose to think otherwise, it's your choice, certainly. Everyone is free to choose what they want. But whether there is any truth or wisdom in the choice is questionable. Whatever we read, whatever we hear is useful to a degree. But we are to become that knowledge ourselves. If we are not that knowledge ourselves, then we are wasting our vital energy and time. And we still remain in the cycle. People talk a lot, but they are not that which they try to represent or talk about. You are to become that vessel. So stop wasting your time, turn within, and realize that as long as you are falling asleep in the presence of higher beings, your consciousness is incapable of sustaining that level of spiritual radiation, that level of spiritual transmission. And you are just to let go, to turn more and more within, to cultivate yourself more, so that you become more and more aware, even through a dream, even through a deep sleep. It's a process, but you will naturally, instinctively understand it from within. If you have guidance, they have to be masters themselves to be able to tell you this and navigate you through the process. Or else you're wasting your time. True masters don't teach just like that. They don't accept anyone to teach just like that. You are to prove yourself through a certain process. And this process is your ability to face life, to face pain and suffering with courage, and learn to let go. First of all, learn to recognize the corrupt and limiting, self-limiting patterns so that you can let go. It's easier said than done. Most of the people cannot do this. They cannot even accomplish 10% of that. It's too painful. It's easier to hold on to the illusion and justify it. Then what are we talking about in terms of spiritual awakening or evolution? It's like you want to pull an animal out of a swamp, but an animal thinks that you're threatening it because it hurts. Most of the people are like those traumatized, hurt animals. They're stuck, but they would rather make movements to drown themselves more than to stay still and allow that one opportunity to drag them out. Thank you very much. I hope I answered your question. Stay free from stimulants and drugs. Try not to peep into forbidden realms or dimensions prematurely, because it may cause you more pain and create unnecessary spiritual attachments that are difficult to get rid of. So instead, look within, face yourself, and learn to let go. Thank you very much.